This is a video response to the Hot Crazy Matrix video that's going around on the internet right now. On the bottom here, we're going to use the money axis. Over here, we're going to have the pig axis. By default, being born male, it's unfortunate, but it puts you at a 5, and it just goes up from there to a 10, which is a dreadful human being.
As a rule, this is your no-go zone, okay? We do not date or hang out or marry men who are, at least in our minds, a 5. There is a supplemental graph for girls who will date, marry a guy who's a 5 and under for his money.
If you're not at a 7 level hot and you're below that and you're broke ass, that's a no-brainer. You're just dealing with like ex-convicts. People will probably come over and squat in your house, steal your shit. You don't want to deal with these people.
This area is your dating zone, and this is an area, it's a broad range of pig, it's a broad range of money, it's, you could get stuck here for an eternity. Your goal is to move down in here. This area here is where you get the promise ring, whatever that is, the engagement ring, and then suddenly you find out, oh my God, it's 15 years later, and now you can't even get over here to these guys in the basement.
These are the dudes that are probably like gonna come over your place, want you to cook for them while they have their hand down their pants, scratching their balls while they're watching football on a Sunday on a lazy boy. They're not going to take you anywhere. They're not going to do anything for you. They're not good looking. They're not earning. This is not where you want to be.
Above an 8 hot, and in between about a 7 and a 5, that is your husband zone.
The pig scale is a blessing and a curse. It's what makes a guy fun, but it sadly is also what makes a guy choke you with your sports bra and dump you into a wooded area. So just know if you're in the fun zone that the fun can turn into death or danger at any moment. It's just all related to where we are here.
My slang is editorial, explicit material, briefcase show, live and stereo flow, feel me.
There was a time when the internet was a place that people came to have fun. They came to make jokes. They came to take risks, and there's always an element of risk involved in humor. And today, we all know better. Nobody makes any jokes on the internet anymore. The internet is a place where people's lives are ruined, their careers are ended, they get canceled, they have to move to Florida, grow a beard, change their legal name, spend the rest of their time on a fishing boat, avoiding questions when people say, "Didn't I see you on TikTok?" All right. So we all know now that coming on the internet, you're basically placing your head on the chopping block for public judgments. Don't even try to make a joke. Just don't. Just don't. But there was a joke made at least 6 years ago. To my memory, I think it's more like 8 years ago. There was some guy who's some kind of gun instructor on a shooting range who spontaneously got up in front of a whiteboard and drew up a chart of the relationship between how hot women were, in his terms, and how crazy they were. And this became a sensation about 6 years ago. A whole sequence of satirical reactions to this video, mostly made by women, got millions of views. And the original video itself, I don't know who uploaded it first or where it was uploaded first. To my memory, that video is so old that it's from the era when YouTube wasn't the only contender in the online video services game. I think there were other websites it might have been uploaded to. It might have been on Dailymotion or one of those competitors. It might be somewhere else that it first found its foothold, that it first found its audience. So what he presents us with here, most fundamentally, is this diagonal line in the middle of the chart. And that diagonal line seems to insinuate that the more attractive a woman is, the crazier she is. I just point out, this is actually a misinterpretation of the chart. It is not telling you that as women become more attractive, they become more crazy. What it's depicting is the male willingness to tolerate how crazy a woman is, increasing with how attractive she is. So you can actually take this chart and read it as a critique of or a satire of the male mentality. That's really what's being made fun of here. It's not just making fun of attractive people for being crazy, nor is it saying that unattractive people are more often sane. It's really making fun of the shallowness of what it is men look for in women and how they look for them. The assumption is that men are just trying to get with a woman who is as attractive as possible while being tolerably crazy, while testing the limits of their own tolerance for craziness. Now, as you may have assumed, my own perspective on relations between the genders is very much diametrically opposed to this. I think that it's really important in your own mind and in your own heart and in your discussions with your friends to totally get rid of this idea of an incremental scale between 1 and 10 for how attractive somebody is. I think you have to really commit to the idea that everyone you meet, everyone you interact with, everyone you choose to pursue or not pursue is either a 0 or a 10. What do I mean by that? When you meet someone, when you flirt with someone, when you interact with someone, there are really only two possibilities. Either this person is so attractive to you that you're willing to take a risk, that you're willing to stick your neck out and embarrass yourself, or they are not. And that's it. That's the whole range of variables. And when you think about it that way, there's no point ever comparing two different women. Right? It's not like, oh, well, I think this woman is an 8 and this woman's a 9. No, there's no point. When you knew that woman, whether she was your coworker or someone you studied with at university or somebody you met at the grocery store. I mean, those are high pressure situations. You meet someone at the grocery store. Are you really gonna try to embarrass yourself? Are you gonna try to start a conversation out of the blue? You meet someone at the library. Oh, hey, I noticed you're in the reference section. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for everyone, even if it works out. Even if you go to coffee or something, you're both going to laugh about the fact that you met in the library and you had this embarrassing encounter. And women have embarrassed themselves coming at me that way, and I have some degree of sympathy or pity for them. It's embarrassing. It's awkward for everybody. But I mean, there's no point putting people on a span between 1 and 10 and evaluating them relative to other people. Either you're willing to take the risk or you are not. And every single time you're risking more than mere embarrassment. Because among other things, you're risking your reputation. I don't know why people only talk about this with women. Like people talk as if only women have a reputation to defend and not men. I had a friend, he was a bodybuilder, and I remember talking to him about the fact that, well, there's this one girl in my gym I'm interested in, but let me tell you, if I start chatting with her, if I start flirting with her, or if I ask her to go to coffee with me, that's it for the gym. For that gym, I am never going to flirt with, I am never going to talk with any other woman at that gym because I approached one woman at the gym. And as soon as it's two women, then all the women at that gym, and definitely all the female employees at that gym, they've all talked about you. They have nothing better to talk about. They're sitting around and they're in the change room and they're sitting around with nothing to do in that gym all day. Then everyone knows you as the guy who's trying to get with every single girl at that gym, even if it's only two girls, and even if those two women, maybe each one was special to you in a certain way. Maybe you really did have some particular connection with them or some particular interest with them. Like, no. So, your reputation matters. Talent is scarce. If you go to a university, you can imagine. Sorry, I used to study Chinese at the University of Victoria. I don't think I approached a single woman of any age the whole time I was on campus at the University of Victoria. Honestly, I do not think I flirted with or took out on a date even one woman ever once, okay? But let's say there was a woman there I was interested in, okay? How many people are studying Chinese? It's a small program at a small university in a small town in Canada, right? If it's just one woman, I don't have a problem. If I start approaching, flirting with, or dating just two women at the same university in the same program, okay? Even if I have done nothing wrong, even if there's nothing worth gossiping about, you have no idea how much gossip you're going to inspire. And look, I went through this. I used to be an English teacher in the capital city of Laos, which is a city. It's not a small town, but it's a small city. And the whole time I was there, I only had one girlfriend. Everybody's talking about me as if I'm on the Mac, as if I've got like 20 girls going at the same time. People make up stories. It's unbelievable. It's like, wow, yeah, I had one girlfriend in 5 years in this city of like 1 million people. But guess what? People's imaginations were up. And look, I can have integrity. I can have personal integrity. I can be committed to telling the truth. But I can't have integrity for you, right? Like, I get to choose what I'm going to do. I don't get to choose what the women in the gym say when they're gossiping about me, or the women in the university program, or the other people who are English teachers living abroad in Southeast Asia or something, right? People are going to take the story and run with it, right? So yeah, you are taking a risk. You're risking your embarrassment in more ways than one long term. Everybody is a 0 or a 10. And to flip it around, because I think this is 100% equal for men and women. I've talked about this with Melissa many times. You know, I really always had a lot of contempt for the women who wanted to start something with me, and they just lacked the nerve. They just lacked them, and they brought it up to that brink, and and it's like, what are you afraid of here? Like what would it take for you to cross that line? Like, and if you don't have the backbone to try to ask me out for coffee, like if you don't have what it takes to do that, if you don't have what it takes to initiate, why would I want to be in a relationship with you? Why would I want to be in a relationship with a weak-willed, spineless person? If you're not strong enough to do this, like what kind of relationship is that going to be? So I've always seen it as equal between the genders that way, no matter how attractive a woman is. It can be the prettiest thing on the beach. Doesn't mean I want to have a relationship with you. Doesn't mean I even want to have a conversation with you. Doesn't mean I want to go for coffee with you, eat lunch with you once. And if you want to do that with me, if you want to take me out for a lunch date to figure out if we've got any common ground, got something in common, right? You better have the nerve. You better have the tenacity. You better have the commitment. Because if you don't, that reflects really badly on your character for all of the things in the future. Okay? So that's a really simple binary scale. Everyone is a 0 or a 10. And if you live this way, there are knock-on effects. It's going to improve your life in all kinds of ways, trivial and profound, that you can't yet imagine. Getting rid of the comparative and competitive view of ranking people from 0 to 10. And now let's talk about the other scale. Let's talk about crazy, all right? Craziness doesn't exist on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? It's either a 0 or a 10, okay? When you lie down to sleep at night, either you're afraid that the person you're sleeping with is going to stab you in your sleep, or you are not. I remember talking to this guy. He was really proud that he just slept with this really attractive young woman. He was telling me different things about it. And I looked at him, and we just had a conversation about going on a bus trip. So I knew he had all this stuff with him for his bus trip. And he's telling me, he's humble bragging, I guess, or just outright bragging about sleeping with a girl. I just looked at him and I said, so when you went to the hotel with her, did you take your passport and your wallet and hide it in a safe? Because, I know you would be afraid that this girl would rob you in your sleep. And you know what he said? I always remember. He was from Chicago. Said to me, he said, dude, you have no idea. I had to take my wallet and my passport and stuff it inside the pillowcase and then turn the pillow over so that it was right under my head. And I slept the whole night with my face on my wallet and my passport so that I knew she wasn't going to rob me while I was asleep. Wow, man, that's a hot chick. Yeah, wow. Yeah, she's really... Right? When it comes to craziness, either you trust someone or you do not, right? And of course it goes way beyond the wallet that's in your pocket. If she just tells you something, sometimes your boyfriend or your girlfriend, they tell you something that sounds crazy. They tell you something that doesn't seem to make any sense. They tell you something that's contradictory. Do you trust them? Or in that first moment, are you you're trying to manipulate me? Prove to me you're not bullshit. You know what I mean? Do they have to overcome your skepticism, in that relationship because you regard them as crazy? You regard them with suspicion. Are they someone you can really trust? Not just at the best of times. Not just when everything's going well. Under pressure, under strain, jet lag, screaming babies, unemployment. But you know what's a lot harder to deal with than unemployment? Overemployment. When your schedule's filled and you're run down and you can't take the time to think everything through and be the most sensitive, muffin in the oven. You know what I'm saying? Can you trust that person, Or are you living your life where you are afraid at any given time that they are going to go crazy? So the chart I come up with, arithmetically and graphically, is really simple. When it comes to human attraction, everyone is either a 0 or a 10. When it comes to sanity, when it comes to reliability, when it comes to someone being trustworthy or not, when it comes to measuring how crazy someone is, everyone is either a 0 or a 10. And that divides this chart into 4 equal parts. You've got decisions to make. You've got your work cut out for you.
My slang is editorial, explicit material, briefcase show, live and stereo flow, feel me.